Welcome to Cax Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon. Okay, go. You're talking about Joe Rogan?
Yeah, when Joe Rogan signed a $250 million contract with Spotify, I thought he would go corporate, which means he gets subdued, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Letterman back in the day. He was very vocal. He was very honest, and then he signed a $30 million contract for 1 year, and then everything changed. He did what he was told to say.
Well, from what I understand, the Rogan contract was like he maintained all creative control. Like that was the main thing, and man, I should know this, but Spotify is not an American company. I don't think.
Is it Chinese?
I don't think it's Chinese. I think it's European or I don't know. We can look it up.
I'm not sure.
But I just know that was part of why Rogan turned to Spotify in the first place, was because YouTube kept on getting on his case when he was trying to talk about COVID and everything.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure for him to get off the air, like almost, or shut up at least,
basically.
But when he signed that contract, I was happy that he had Cat Williams on, because Cat Williams is really as honest as they come.
That's amazing stuff, and I'm gonna check it out soon too. I'm actually gonna maybe even tonight, because I'm when I go to the gym for sometimes I do 2-hour gym sessions, I'll listen to a whole podcast, and it's like my little me time. But
he names names, which is quite brave.
Oh, really? Okay, I got to check it out.
Quite brave.
Okay, man.
And he's been threatened, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get into this, and we're rolling. I'm here today with Britt Jackson once again. Previous guest on the episode, I will put his previous episode in the show notes. Don't want to dive too far into Britt's bio again. We kind of covered that in the last podcast, but I can put it again in the show notes. But just Britt's an experienced man. He's worked for CN Rail and other train companies, basically. But he's from Jasper, Alberta. He some hobbies he liked. He's a climbing enthusiast, but he has children. Was married, the whole shebang.
35 years.
35 years, yeah. So, but that's why Britt is on the show. Britt is on the show because he basically is an investigative journalist. Okay, now he doesn't write for anyone or belong to anyone, but his entire life he has put a lot of effort and passion into just investigating into topics that he knows that he has a fascination with, or that he knows that the public needs to eventually hear about. There's tons of people like him out there. Some might call them truth seekers or slap some labels of that sort. I enjoy my conversations with Britt. I always take something away. But today's podcast is we're picking up off of kind of what we talked about in the last podcast. Now, I do a preface to the audience here. This subject matter might not be, I don't know, like some people might take offense. Some people may not. Some people may believe it. Some people may not. Some people might think by the end of this conversation that Britt's insane or that I'm insane, But at the end of the day, we're critical thinking people. We're open-minded, okay? And that's why I'm willing to dive into these topics here. But let's just get right into the nitty-gritty here. Britt, picking up where we last left off, there's loads of evil going on in the world. There always has been evil going on in the world. And when we say evil, your understandings of that matter is that essentially there's I don't even want to say like a cult, but since the beginning of humanity, there has always been forces of evil that have done everything they can to push the agenda of evil, which is essentially enslaving humanity for the I don't know, the belief systems of their side of the spectrum, which is, who knows what that really is. But I've kind of simplified it for laymen's and dummies with if you've seen James Bond movies, there's hidden secret societies that have been always plotting world domination.
A lot of truth in James Bond.
Yeah. So but you dive into this stuff, you're not afraid now to kind of come out and just unload what you know. And but right now, let's start with you wanted to talk about Gaza specifically to get it going right now.
Yes. The world has to acknowledge Gaza. I mean, what's going on there is nothing short of mass genocide, mass suicide, mass murder, it's horrible. and the world is silent, and it really freaks me out because if we don't stand up to this, if we don't make our voices heard about how wrong this is, then eventually it could happen to us.
Okay, so right now the basic understanding is that this is that section of the world. It's a Israel-Palestine war, but you're saying that it goes deeper than that.
It goes much deeper than that.
What's really happening there?
October 6th, there was a rocket launch attack on Israel from Gaza. But you have to understand where Hamas is coming from. Hamas and Israel have a strange relationship, and some people say Israel created Hamas. So this is a very strange story. And it's common knowledge in Israel and Gaza that the Israelis came out with attack helicopters 12 to 14 hours later, which is bizarre because they were 12 minutes away, the nearest base. And the whole story is not true, of course, in the mainstream media. But beyond that, these are women and children and men, innocent people that are being murdered at an astronomical scale, possibly 30, 40, 50,000. These are babies. This is horrible. Any way you look at it, who's to blame, who started it, who was involved from the beginning on October 6th, we can't deny that this is horrible, horrible genocide. And we have to wake up to this and we have to voice our opinions. I mean, the United States keeps vetoing at the UN Security Council to stop this. There's real negotiations underway to stop this Gaza murder, mass murder, genocide, and the United States keeps vetoing it at the Security Council. I mean, this is horrible. This is terrible. And we have to realize what's going on here. We have to understand that if we let this go and not say anything, that this will spread. This can spread. This is what happened in World War II. People who didn't say anything, eventually it came back to haunt them. And we must stand up and we must stop this.
Okay, so what I mean, what exactly is going on there at a deeper scale though? Like, because it's I mean, from the outside looking in, a lot of people aren't up to speed with even understanding what's happening in that side of the world. But why, like just to be more candid here, you're saying essentially like the U.S. kind of like secretly wants this to happen. Essentially, is that kind of what I'm picking up here? Or
the U.S. is an extension of the Israeli government.
The U.S. extension is really government.
If you look at all of the cabinet positions in the U.S., they are run by Israelis, dual citizen American Israeli citizens, from the Treasury to all aspects of government, from the White House down. The United States is a pawn of Israel, and the American people, I don't think, realize how deep it runs. But I think where you're heading here is spirituality. The evil and good. Yes, we're heading into a final battle. There's no question about it. We're with evil and good, and this is pure evil that's going on in Gaza.
Okay, and do you think this evil ties into the like the global order, if you will, right? Like this is just one section that's kind of I don't know, exploding on the world scene, if you will. Or is there like more of a reason why this is happening? And does this tie into, what's happening with Russia, Ukraine, and other?
Definitely. Yeah. The Ukraine-Russian front is just a meat grinder. It's killing young, mostly Ukrainian men. You'll never defeat Russia. And no, there's just no way. People don't understand that in Ukraine, the Russians found biolabs, weapons biolabs, and they found children being trafficked. They rescued thousands of children. They've shut down over 40 weapons-grade biolabs in Ukraine. Putin wasn't just seeking extra land. He was trying to shut this down. And you'll never hear this in mainstream media, but it's completely true. And Ukraine is a horrible place for money laundering from American taxpayers, who unfortunately are funding this mostly, and the EU, and it's a horrible situation. It's evil, against good. Putin has actually offered the Palestinians land outside of Moscow for them to resettle. I mean, Putin's obviously not a perfect guy, but what's going on there is not being reported properly.
Okay, and just touching further, like right now, you believe, just in past, like World War II, for instance, like that was essentially the same thing happening, kind of like now back then at a deeper scale. It just kind of reached the world stage, like that was supposed to be some kind of pinnacle scenario of the evil forces trying to make like a full on like go for it, if you will, because
it's a ritualistic sacrifice.
Yeah.
Whenever you sacrifice young men and women in war, it's a ritualistic sacrifice. There's no need for wars. There's no need whatsoever for wars. There's no need. This is a ritualistic sacrifice, just like 9/11. It was a ritualistic sacrifice. It was pre-planned. It was decades in the planning, and they sacrificed 3,000 people plus the psyches of billions. This is how the evil side works. Call it whatever you want. Call it Satan. Call it devil. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's evil and there's good. And to be human, we have two sides of the coin. We have to learn from the evil and be better people and work towards the good, towards the light. But unfortunately, we got to go through stuff like this until we become a more mature human race. But this happens every day. It's crazy, and it's same with the woke system. It's division. It's to divide our society. Women's rights. Don't get me wrong. Don't send Shawn nasty letters. But women's rights and everything was designed to break the family down. It wasn't to empower women so much. It was to break the family down. So now you've got two parents that have to work because of inflation, because of taxation, which is ridiculous. And now they can't raise their own children. Now we got to go to daycare. They're not getting the proper adult people in their lives. It's a shame.
Like so I mean, a lot was said right there, and people, yes, again, this is a conversation, like we're human beings. We're allowed to take our information we get from the world and process it and say what we think is right anyway, or not, whatnot. Now, like, to take it back to the beginning, because like you and I, we talk off air about some of these subject matter, but from the beginning, like you're actually a spiritual guy, like, like
yes.
So you believe that
we all are.
Yes. Like, to kind of, how can I put it, like make this more understandable to the layman, is that since the beginning of time, like you were explaining to me that basically, like there was God and he casted the devil, like out of heaven, essentially.
Yes.
And then when he came down, it's like, this is essentially long-term work of the devil. Like all, like evil essentially is just like like the devil trying to essentially get into our souls, if you will. And
that's partly true, but we're participating because we have turned away from God. We have turned away from our spirit. Right? So when you turn away from truth, you turn away from the light, guess where you go? You go dark.
Yeah.
You go to the darker side. So when we get enamored with the world and we need things and we need sex and we need drugs and we need whatever, we're turning away from our true spiritual being. We're turning away from God.
Right.
So we are participating with the dark forces.
Right. Okay. And I mean, I always felt like, there's something wrong, definitely, in my time on this planet right now. Like, in my gut, I feel like something is, we're not steering in the right direction for sure. But then, there's moments where I feel like we are steering in the right direction, but it just so happens whenever those moments come by, I'm noticing with my own, observing that, wow, like we're doing, things, like I'm not super into religion, if you will. Like I'm open-minded and I take in information wherever I can. But it's like, but when you essentially live as close as you can to the good parts of all major religions, like you do feel better. I notice, like when you're in like a monogamous relationship, and then when the roles of the dynamic naturally play out, where, like for the most part, there's more nurturing from the mom, and then the father's usually the one out working, and then you create more of that natural family dynamic. Like I do notice there's a lot more peace and everything like that. But right now, like a lot of the liberation, if you will, in the last 100 years, I have noticed there's a lot of pros to it because of innovation and just seeing human potential. But at a spiritual level, I have noticed that it seems to also be contributing to lots of chaos.
Well, I think some of these movements, as I mentioned before, women's rights and whatnot, racial rights, I think they had a very positive foundation. I think in some ways they were, especially racial, But what happens is when we get into DEI, all this nonsense, this woke nonsense, what happens is we start separating us more and more and more. We put in more dividers, more divisions in our society, in our race. And what happens is we start to lose who we are even more than we already have. We become individuals. A house divided falls. A house divided fails, right? We know inside of ourselves what's true and what's not true. We know naturally. If you just be quiet in yourself and just sit for a minute, you know what's right. Mm-hmm. You know what's wrong. We're born with it. Mm-hmm. It's internal. Yeah. It's not something you got to go read a book about.
Right.
It's in our DNA. It's in our spirit. It's in our soul, whatever you want to call it. And what happens is we start to, as a governed society, we start to put all these labels on things, right? And it just becomes completely confusing. And if you've ever heard the saying, the devil is in the details, think about that for a second. When you have something beautiful, you look at a beautiful scene, you look at an ocean scene, a mountain scene, and you're there, you're enjoying nature. You don't say, okay, what mountain is that? How high is it? What kind of tree is that? Right? Because you start to break down the beauty of it. Mm. The devil is in the details. The devil creates this detailed world where we lose sense of a natural spiritual understanding of it. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm picking up for the most part. I mean, I like right now, I mean, what we're talking about is a very grandiose topic, but right now I just feel like there's a lot of merit to it because of all the happenings of the world and just a lot of the real time like issues that everyone's kind of facing daily right now. But right now like this conversation has a theme to it, and it does essentially preface under good and evil. But right now it sounds like evil is trying to make a drastic push right now because maybe there's a lot of people waking up to how ridiculous and how crazy the world is right now. And so now there's these not last ditch efforts, but these major moves, strategic moves at play, kind of like, like that global sickness thing that happened a couple of years ago that caused everything to be out of whack. And then mixed in with the, it seems like right now, like the destruction of the financial system to kind of enslave, essentially, like recreate more of this division that will cause more people to be poor and like smaller amounts of people to be rich. And
well, I don't want to go too far into the financial thing because I could go on forever. But people don't understand that the financial system is a complete illusion. Mm. The Federal Reserve, for example, which is the biggest reserve bank, central bank in the world, is privately owned.
Yeah.
It's privately owned.
Yeah.
They push a button that creates money that they lend to governments.
Yeah.
So think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
They push a button, they lend money out of thin air to governments who pay interest. We pay interest, we pay taxation, everything is involved. It's called the currency system, and it's all over the world.
Yeah,
it's all over the world. And if you look at a lot of countries that have been invaded for no reasons because they didn't want to buy into the central banking system.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And I phoned the Federal Reserve in New York City years ago, and they freely admitted to me they were a private organization owned by certain banking families. And they create money out of thin air, and we pay for it, and we pay them back with real money and real assets.
Okay, so right now, with I've seen those the three-parter of Zeitgeist back in the day. Aaron
Russo.
I forget who if it was
Yeah,
Aaron Russo.
Aaron Russo,
right? So I'm aware of these details as well. It's just kind of it's a bizarre situation when you know that the game is rigged, yet we all still have to play it just because our day-to-day literal moment-to-moment existence is reliant on participating in this thing without without total transformation in your life into, I don't know, like living in the woods or
but
something.
We have
like
to be aware, right, Shawn? We have to be aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
We maybe can't change everything every day, every moment, but we have to be aware, and we're not even there yet.
But not the word but. I'm just saying this system is essentially owned by the side of evil, though.
Certainly.
Yes. Like, because I don't see why, like, because right now like at the end of the day, like the Ukraine, Gaza, isn't this all still just a way to manipulate wealth control for to favor the side of evil?
It's
like
certainly
even
it's certainly part of it.
Even that super sickness thing that happened 4 years ago, it was like it was essentially designed to manipulate,
to get in your psyche.
Get in your psyche, as well as simultaneously like manipulate the money situation.
Yeah, the people that run this world need us to be afraid on a daily basis, right? So they bring in the disease thing, they bring in the monetary system, the inflation, the taxation. It's to keep you on edge. It's to keep you like you're burdened. You're so heavily burdened. You can't really express yourself. You can't really do what you want to do.
I do agree with that. And but even prior to the invention of currency, it's like you're right. Like that, you use the word right now that just kind of got my gears going even more in my brain here. It's like burden, that word, because prior to any invention of technology, say you go back to caveman time, your entire life is a burden.
If there was a caveman time.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into that.
All bullshit.
Yeah, like it's like because back then like the burden was every day just to, in this theoretical caveman time, like there was a burden because your entire existence, you wake up and you're just hungry, and now the burden is go through days of work just to track down an animal and hunt it down and eat it and then bring it back. And so it's like you're right, like a lot of burden it gives people purpose sometimes in a situation like that, but it doesn't contribute to like long-term fast-paced innovation, which is kind of now we're in a place
we're not talking about irresponsibility here. We're not saying you shouldn't get up and go to work. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that why is the system the way it is? Say some of the most important people on the planet are teachers, especially good teachers, and they're paid nothing. Police, good policemen, they're paid nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But guys that are higher up and more meaningless careers and professions are paid billions, millions. It's backwards. It's upside down. It's how you play the game with the psychopaths that run the world. Are you going to play their game, or are you going to try and do your own thing? It's much harder to do your own thing.
Oh yeah.
But if you play their game, you're going to be rewarded financially and otherwise. Look at Hollywood. Well, Hollywood's falling apart, thank God. But it's I know David Weiss a bit, Flat Earth Dave, and he says, don't go to college. You're wasting your freaking money. He says, learn on your own. Do your own thing. Be an entrepreneur. Don't go to college and be in debt for the rest of your life. It's ridiculous. And he's got a point. And the point is, college and universities are a product of the cog of the wheel that they want us to be in. It's people teaching memory processes. In other words, you go to school. You don't go to school to learn critical thinking. You don't. Even the best schools, Harvard, Princeton, whatever, they don't teach you critical thinking. They teach you to memorize what they want you to learn. Okay, that is not critical thinking. That is the antithesis. Yes, and this is where people have to wake up. This is another area. Of course, we're going to get into many, but yeah.
Like, well, right now the like just to circle back here is like we tied into, like, it seems like we're going all over the place, but we're not. There's a theme to every topic where it all centralizes under the understanding that we're
living in an illusion and we're not paying attention.
We're not paying attention. We're living in an illusion. We are being manipulated at mass scale. by the side
and
of
we're
evil,
participating,
and we're participating either willfully or semi-willfully. Right. But right now, it's like it just seems like the world is heading towards another major point in the storyline, if you will. If this was a movie, we're hitting the climax again. Like, I think the last major one was World War II, and then the subsequent,
which was contrived, which was made.
Mm-hmm.
World War II was not an accident, nor was World War I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and right now it's just like what we're kind of going towards is the same thing. Like it seems like it's manipulated very strategically, like in waves. But you also mentioned that that a lot of the flow of these series of events was what there was periods of interruption to it. Like you strongly believe the 4 years Trump was in was not part of the game plan of the super evil group.
No, he interrupted them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a 16-year plan, and he took 4 years out of it.
Yeah. Okay. And I kind of believe that.
They'll admit. Even Obama and Hillary will admit it.
Mm-hmm.
At some occasions.
Mm-hmm. Right now I'm building towards like the main topic that we're going to be diving into quickly here, because like right now, just for the audience, it's essentially, if you kind of understand the flow of this conversation already, it's that, whether you believe in religion or not, or spirituality, or a soul, or God, I mean, it just,
and those are just names.
Those are just names. Just know, like, even within your own being, day to day, you have a good side and a bad side. You have a side that does bad things. You have a side that does good things. It's like, But to know that side that does bad things has been intentionally amplified by amplified and intentionally like coerced into being manipulated, right? It's like that side is because there's a group out there that have been passing along the messages to either their exact genetics, which is their children, or their disciples, or the people believing in that movement. But it all does stem from worshiping evil. And then, religious people like yourself will call it Satan. But you actually have a literal belief in Satan. But right now, just what I'm trying to go towards is that there is one major topic that has essentially really crippled majority of us in our ability to think freely and to rediscover who we truly are, which is like good-natured spiritual beings. And that main one is centered around the idea that we actually don't live on a round planet, that we live on a level Earth.
No.
Okay.
The globular Earth is the greatest lie that's ever been given to mankind. It's insane. It is absolutely insane that we are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, 1,600 kilometers an hour, and we're circling the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, 666. And then the sun is traveling through the galaxy at 500,000 miles an hour, and the galaxy is expanding with the universe at several million miles an hour. It's just a bunch of crap. I mean, think about it, please. Okay. Just let me finish here. Mm. If you just go outside and stand still for a moment, are we hurtling through the galaxy, hurtling around the sun, hurtling around the axis? Show me one picture of Earth from outer space that's not touched up, that's not CGI, that's not painted. There is none. Mm-hmm. There is none. We've been to the moon. Mm-hmm. Where are the cameras on the moon? Why isn't the cameras on the moon showing the Earth spinning around there in space? It's all bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And people have called us crazy, or we're thinking flat Earth, we're thinking level Earth, we're thinking whatever Earth. But the globular model does not work at all. Mm. Dave Weiss, he's offered 3 Bitcoins, which is now almost 200,000 US, to anybody that can prove the global Earth. Not one scientist, not one astronomer, not one anybody from NASA has come forward and tried to take his money, and it's on the table right now. And I've been in touch with them, and this is real.
I don't. Well, like that one, I don't know. Maybe they just dispel it as, oh, that's a crazy guy. We don't need to deal with the crazy guy. But like right now, I'm not. Look, Britt, I'm being candid here. So you and I, we agree on a lot of things. I definitely share the same eye for the world as you do for a variety of things. I also, but there's some that whether the level Earth is true, and this whole time we've been thrown into a loop of lies. That one, let's like for a second, I'm gonna approach this question. Say I am with you. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is probably level Earth. All our understandings of the greater understanding of how things come together, it has been a lie. Who knows how all this actually works? But the thing that you were trying to explain to me that I kind of thought as well is that this one would be the greatest one to trick the groups into mass manipulation, because I'll give you an example. I've seen some people might call it like woo magical things happen in my life where I kind of like I almost have superpowers for a second, like because just things from using my mind
because that's who you really are.
Like it's like I believe something can happen, and but when I believe it, it's literally as clear as me holding this pen. I'm like, hey, I'm holding this pen, like I believe this thing can happen, and then it's amazing how it starts to shape up. And then I get on a streak where I'm like, hey, like I believe this next thing can happen. And as an example, I don't know, I just remember just things like going to the gym and being like, hey, I can never lift that. And then started believing I could lift that. And it's just weird how I started to picturing it. And then, some call it law of attraction and everything like that. But I started realizing, I'm like, wait, like we have a lot of power, like, and then as I started to rise up in my own world and just get things going with the positive, I started realizing like we're very powerful. Like this is not, like we're not, there's a great chance that I'm like
we're spiritual beings stuck in this meat package.
That's it.
We're living a dense life to learn about this existence.
Yes. So
we're spiritual beings at our foundation.
Yes. I love the blunt way you threw down like that. And I apologize to the audience. I'm talking so cryptic because like I'm trying to.
It's not an easy subject.
It's not an easy subject, and I'm trying to find a way to talk about this without, myself getting pulled off YouTube. But like at the end of the day, I know we're powerful. And I've noticed even in my own life, every time I start to make powerful moves, whatever it may be, like whether it's an ambitious move to start a business or like believing that all of a sudden, like I can, beat that other guy in a martial arts match of some kind, like with less training than him, or if it's something drastic, like I want to just say, oh, you can't learn that, and all of a sudden, like I'm able to learn it, and it's like I'm like, whoa, like we're full of power and ability, but I notice as I try to tap into this, it's like the competition, if you will, the people in my world, they end up trying to bring me down. They'll say, oh, you can't do that, or that's a stupid idea, or like, oh, you're going to pull your back if you try to lift that weight, or oh, this is going to fail if you do this. And then all of a sudden, like I'm in this weird mental battle between believing in myself and using what they call logic and rational thinking and all of a sudden getting that doubt. And I noticed whenever things haven't worked out. That's the dark forces we're dealing with. Right, exactly. Right?
So they're there all the time with every thought you have.
Yeah. So to tie back into like the level Earth thing, it's like if people in my day-to-day circles, some are actually friends, I can use that word loosely, some aren't, some are just people, but if they're trying to bring you down, and I've noticed it myself too, like there's that weird tinge of like the good and evil in my brain, like like I'm a human being, and every now and then you might get that jealous emotion or something, and you're like, ooh, like, and then you're all of a sudden for a moment, small moment, you may not be giving that same support with as much enthusiasm because whatever that person is suggesting to go do, you feel threatened because now you're all of a sudden feeling like, oh man, I better be doing something awesome. But Britt, it's like, but I always overpower that, and I show support, and I move that negative emotion out because I know it's wrong. I'm not a child. Like a child would not be able to.
If you engage in thinking that is jealous,
Yeah.
angry,
Yeah.
hateful,
Yeah. Yeah.
murderous,
Yeah.
you allow the
evil,
dark forces to
right.
come in. You give
Yes.
the dark forces, whatever you want to call them, Satan, devil, whatever, negativity, you open up a door.
Yes.
So we have to avoid that kind
Right.
of thinking.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And competition is not something that's always good.
Yes.
It's extremely negative.
No, yeah, I fully agree with what you just said there, and I don't like I practice positive conscious thinking all the time, because your subconscious, like, who knows how to manipulate that, but you can control the conscious, and I do use what Jocko Willink calls Jocko mind control, but it's like you control your own mind, you focus just on
you influence the subconscious if you're conscious.
Yes, exactly. Right? Yes, your conscious will influence the subconscious, as long as you got to practice at it all the time, because like the more you move up and get successful or meet better people or like try to better yourself, the dark forces try to take you down and stuff.
You find the truth.
And yes.
This is why I push the truth.
Yes.
Because I want people to wake up and be more conscious.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly. That's why it's termed waking up.
That's why we're talking about flat earth or level earth. That's why we're talking about the whole Medicare system is a freaking joke. Mm-hmm. You know, everything we've been raised to believe in is basically all wrong.
Right. And I do agree with a lot of things are wrong. And that's why, you and I have our conversations off air, and I feel like this is an important podcast to continue to contribute to the people who've also been relaying this message out there. But to circle back, like the level earth, it's like if that one is true, then that might be the way I see it. Cause someone we mutually know said to me, they're like, what does it matter if deep down this thing is level earth or round earth, or like if there's space, no space, like what does it matter? Because I'm still trying to pay my bills. And then I'm thinking, like, that exact statement's exactly why it matters, because you have confined it.
You're giving up right there.
You're giving up
to the outside forces.
The game already won.
That don't care about you.
Yeah, the game already won. So like now I'm not the notion that necessarily it is a level earth, but I'm saying if where you're even surrounded by, you don't actually understand, and then that's the biggest one. That's the main layer of the ingredient of the recipe.
Well, like it's a foundational question about who we really are.
Yeah, because if you can manipulate that one, then you are absolutely going to be gullible for everything else.
You're on your way as a psychopathic leadership. You're on your way.
Yeah,
you convince people that they're spinning around this freaking universe that's such a joke. The world is motionless, and the sun and the moon rotate around us, and it's obvious. I mean, if you just take a moment to go outside and just look at the sky. Look up, folks. Don't stare at the frickin' sidewalk in front of your toes. Look up and understand. We're not flying around. I don't know exactly how it works. I wish I did. It seems to be some sort of level field, possibly infinite. I don't know. Maybe that's where the infinite comes from. But when you look at the evidence, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. The Baumgartner jump from the Red Bull balloons capsule. If you look at the horizon, it's completely flat from 125,000 feet up. It's completely flat. And not only that, but it rises up, which means that we're not looking down at a curved Earth. It's obvious. And another one was actually a private balloon with 6 passengers, I believe, who paid $30,000 each or something. And when they went up, they saw the flat plane of the horizon for all far as they could see, but they also saw the moon where it shouldn't have been. The moon was over Australia, and this balloon was over the United States. How can they see the moon over Australia on a curved Earth? Impossible. And it's there's footage. If you want to look it up. It's there.
The but that's part of the issue is that most people are so inundated with their routine that they literally, they might not realize it, but they're actually more dumb than they were before, and like their capacity to even question these things are exactly like our mutual friend. Like they're just like, I just don't care. Like I'm just stuck with my burdens, man, and I want to have fun. So it's like between my burdens and having fun, it's like leaves nothing left leaves nothing left for them to care about.
Well, you and I talked about this. If you were kidnapped, blindfolded, shackled, handcuffed, flown away, hours and hours away, thrown into a dark room, and they take your blindfold off, but they lock you in the room. That's basically what's happened to humanity.
Mm.
You don't know where you are.
Yeah.
You don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You can't, for the life of you, you can't remember what the hell your life was. Now you're stuck in this room. You don't know where you are. And you can't progress from there. It's like, how can you progress as a spiritual being when you're locked in this foundation of lies?
Yes.
And this is what's happened to the human psyche by these psychopaths who've done an amazing job of convincing us of bullshit.
Yes.
All bullshit.
And and to circle back, the why I have some why I believe in this to a certain extent is for a strong certain extent is just it just makes sense again. If that's it, it's like this. Okay, Tarzan, right? You know Tarzan. Okay, so Tarzan was convinced.
Yeah, we're good friends.
Yeah. So Tarzan, he's convinced that he's an ape. Right, you know what I mean?
Right, sure.
So he starts acting like an ape, and then he starts adjusting to the ape world. I mean, now Tarzan. Hold on, was Tarzan based on a true?
There are stories of feral children that have grown up in the bush without parents.
Yeah, like
animals,
in the 1800s, right?
Yeah, there are some true stories.
Okay, so but in the whether Tarzan's fictional or whatever, like the idea, everyone's seen the movie and watched like the Disney movie, which again Disney is basically the super evil group.
Disney,
but
what a beautiful company.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah. Anyway, but like Tarzan, you know, he's convinced he's an ape, so he starts acting like an ape. Like that's the analogy I have. Like if say back like this might be far fetched what I'm about to say, but say history's not true at all. Say our understandings of all history is like 90% fabricated, not even close to being real. Let's just humor this for a second. Say our because there's a lot of science fiction writers and authors that have always wrote about like, hey, you know, especially in like the comic book realm, it's like, you know, there's in the past, like we might have been flying around literally like levitating, using not magic, but like we just have loads of like abilities. Maybe we used to live to 150 years, 200 years, like maybe back like it's
1,200 years.
Maybe who knows? Like maybe we used to be this insanely just powerful beings that were just that roam the skies. Like I don't know, and then it's like one day it's like the evil groups, you know, back then, which had little to no power, you know, they're sitting there being like, man, I hate this. I want evil. I want more power for myself. And they band together. They're like, hey, what's the first thing we gotta do? It's like, okay, well, you know, it's like, well, we gotta take out the leaders, and then if we can take out the leaders, we gotta start manipulating the children. They started
with creation, Shawn.
Mm-hmm.
They started with creation from the Bible.
Yep.
They attacked the very first phrases in the Bible.
Okay,
which is creation.
Okay, so
this is where you get the Big Bang shit.
Okay, so I don't want to get too into that one, because that one I'm still not, you know, like that one we don't fully agree on. But like I mean, like I do believe in God, and I am spiritual in that sense, but I mean the specifics to certain religious books, like I'm not 100% of that camp. Dare I say yet, okay, but because I'm always exploring it. But I just know that we are Tarzan, except with the round Earth, level Earth. Because if the level Earth is the true one, and we got convinced it's the round Earth, and then that when you go up, there's actually a thing called space and like all this like stuff. Like, although I'm a huge Star Trek guy, like I love Star Trek science fiction and everything.
There is no space.
Like it's like say
there's no space. We never landed on the moon. I know it's tough for everybody to accept it. Look into it. You'll find it.
Okay, so it's like. Okay, but okay, so
the last two moon landings, the spacecraft tipped onto its side and doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
The last two moon landings, U.S. and the Indian lunar modules, tipped on their side conveniently, and they no longer transmit back to Earth because it's all bullshit.
Okay, so, but to continue, I'm just gonna.
What's your point?
My point is just that if we truly are on a level Earth, and like we got lied to there, we are Tarzan. In a jungle thinking we're an ape. You know what I mean? And the whole point of that is,
in a sense,
that's the way to manipulate.
I see what you're saying.
It was to destroy our abilities to know how powerful we are. And then from there, they manipulate everything else to like, hey, don't cross this area because, you know, it's like, that's an ocean. Like you're going to die here.
I think the most important thing you just said was the question, why should I care? Why should I care if this Earth is globular or if it's flat? Why should I care? I'll tell you why. Because you are denying who you really are in believing bullshit. And we talked about Santa Claus. I mean, who didn't believe in Santa Claus? Who didn't believe in the Tooth Fairy? Everybody did. All the kids did. And those kids that were weaned off it, sooner the better, right? But the lies continue. They continue with schooling. They continue with daycare. They continue with university. It's all bullshit. Like, scientists have now come out just yesterday and written a paper about the climate change fraud. These are scientists. These aren't you and me and guys, trying to get the word out. These are real scientists who believed in the climate fraud and now the climate change fraud, and now they're coming out and saying it's all bullshit. It's bullshit. The whole, I know I got to be careful here, but the whole pharmaceutical industry, the whole medical assistance industry, except for emergency care. Of course, we need emergency care for car accidents and horrible accidents, but the whole long-term healing, we've lost it. We've lost the truth, the foundation of natural healing. We've lost it all. And now we're all like, oh, how are we going to pay for Medicare? Well, Medicare is not real. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I just spent a month in a hospital. It was horrible. It was horrible. Well,
yeah, well, look, it's like, I don't feel like we're lost in the weeds here. I feel like we're still on the same page for a variety of things. It's like the why should we care thing. It's okay. It's because, right now, look, I don't know how everything works, and this is the main problem. Even take a look at my life in the last year. I'm basically in this radius of the city all the time. I have my business, I have my home, I have my gym, I go get groceries. I use the internet for everything else. Everything else gets delivered to my business. I'm reaching out to people through the internet to come meet in person over here. When I take a grandiose, like bird's eye view of myself, I don't know how anything works. How can I? And I mean, like, have I been on a jet able to, fly around the world and kind of see the angles that you're talking about and notice, like, hey, that doesn't make sense. Like, wait, maybe.
Well, that's a beautiful example, right?
Like,
I think you're going where I'm going.
Yeah, but so right now
the jet planes on a curved Earth have to do this, right?
Well, I mean, maybe because what I'm trying to say is this: like, every time I get in a plane, like, I mean, we've all seen you've seen the Truman Show, right, with Jim Carrey.
I never saw it, but I'm very familiar with it.
Okay, yeah. So sometimes I'm like, are we all just in a Truman Show? Because like every time I get in a plane, like I don't actually know if I'm going up.
In a sense, like we're participating. 8 billion people. I don't believe there's 8 billion people on Earth, but 8 billion conscious minds can create an incredible reality or unreality. Right? Think about it. If we have 8 billion conscious minds thinking about something, we can create amazing stuff. And this is why the psychopaths that run this world, they try to influence that consciousness through movies, through mainstream media. If it bleeds, it leads. All the bullshit, the books.
Yeah. Like, well,
it changes our consciousness.
Right. And I mean, all I can say this too is like, I just observe, I'm, running this business, for instance, and just making moves and just seeing human nature at its finest, if you will. Like it's like I just
like the other night.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That was Did you clean your boot off, by the way? Yeah. We had a gentleman at Cat's Bar Podcast completely throw up 3 meals worth of food.
Well, you and I were talking about stress.
Yeah. Turn around and this guy just. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't feed him any liquor. They were waiting for a cat, but he could not last. Yeah, he puked everywhere. And me and Britt were like, we're in the middle of a heartfelt conversation. We turn around, just like, this guy just unloaded everywhere, and I had to clean it up. So,
but I want to harp on this more.
Go. Yeah.
The reason why it's important to understand how the Earth truly is, who we truly are, is because that's the very foundational reason we're here. We're here to find out who we are, how we can help others, how we can participate in this boat. We're all in this boat together, right? And if we're just kind of like humdrum going 9 to 5 every day, and Jesus Christ, nothing makes sense and it's not worth it, then we're not really participating in life, right? We're missing life,
right?
And we're missing friendship and love and all the higher aspects of our being. And we're missing out on. We're getting like we talked about before. We're burdened down, and we don't enjoy. Look at some of these composers. Look at some of these painters. Look what they've done. These are people that are living at a high level, right? Yeah. They're creating. If we're not creating, we're dying. Mm-hmm. Right? As human beings, we're part of the creator. Mm-hmm. We are created beings, and we can create. And if we're just locked into this hub of going to school, get a job, retire when you're 60, and we're losing out on the most beautiful parts of life. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but we're missing out on sharing that. Mm-hmm. You know, like you and I have a good friendship. You know, that's very special. Mm-hmm. And families and stuff, you know, when we really concentrate on the higher aspects of living, which comes about by understanding who we are, where we're from, where we're going, we live at a higher level, and it makes the world a more beautiful place. Yeah, and this is what I'm getting at. I'm not worried about giving you all the dimensions of the earth or this and that bullshit. You know, like I said, the devil's in the details. It's not important. What's important is we focus our spiritual understanding, our spiritual love for one another in this world. It's still a beautiful world, and we take ourselves up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I agree. I totally agree with. I mean, I do believe we're spiritual beings trapped in the human experience. As I think it was Wayne Dyer.
Maybe a chosen experience, Shawn. Maybe not trapped, but by our belief system, we can become trapped.
Yes, and I do agree. Well, that of the observation that we both have, it's like there's definitely a group out there that have been passing along after every generation in life to their disciples or their kin this message of none of what you just said. It's the opposite. It's like, hey, it's about taking more for us, our little small group, and just who cares about everyone else. Like everyone else is being used for our gain, but they don't care about spiritual happiness. They are literally in the meat packer happiness, which is like, how do I have it so that I have even more indulgence into materials? That's why you know, like
foundational. It's not. Yeah, that's not real foundation.
Well, that's why like a lot of these, you know, like some people that you see are clearly evil, like are, you know, like you got weirdos like, you know, like I don't know.
Don't name names.
Yeah, I don't trust, you know, like the nerdy dude with the glasses who's like, you know, like always wearing like, you know, like a ragtag, you know, clothing or whatever. But it's like yeah, or I don't know. It's just, you know, every now and then you'll see a weirdo that's just like you're just like, man, like clearly all you do is take in power so that you can have abundance, because like they're just so like physically mangled with so much,
and
like
they can't bring it with them no matter how
evil out to here, like, you know, like, you know, like their day consists of making deals, and then their nights consist of just debauchery of every form of drug they can get on for pleasure, and then they cycle off for maybe a little period of rest, and then they come back and repeat the system, and then they try to just take in more pleasure, and like, and their whole thing is power, pleasure, and they get a kick out of watching people cry and suffering because it makes them inflate their ego. It's just like a super gross, super ego manipulation, enhancing machine bullshit.
Well, you start talking about child trafficking and child sacrifice.
Like, so it's like
real. Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's freaking real.
I don't believe Sound of Freedom is a inaccurate like depiction of
the iceberg.
Like, yeah. So like when I see all this happening, I do agree. Like when I have a beer, for instance, okay, because you know, in a lot of religions, like basically, you know, you shouldn't be indulging in anything like that. But these things could be used in a positive way to enhance the celebrations in the human experience for the moments of positive. Like, I'm not saying don't party ever. It's like when you do things right and it's all balanced, it feels right. You know, like as in you work, you know, 5 days a week at something that you can, that's part of your spirit. Like it's like, say someone's like it's in them. Like they say,
if you're doing what you love,
but
if you're working for a shitty boss and you hate your job and you hate your life, you have to have a hard look at that.
Yeah.
You got to make a change.
See, if
everybody did that, we would have a better world.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if everyone's pursuing what they love, which is what God created them to love.
Right.
Okay. That's one. Then they're all of a sudden they're fulfilling their role into this natural harmony, and then from there they, if say they were to have a drink and like it's like, or a couple of drinks, like that would naturally happen for only one day a week or to one every 2 weeks, because like, you're not going to have that lust to do it every day. You're going to be like, oh, this is more like a celebration night for, we all get together for, for celebrating all the hard work and prosperousness. It's like when things are done right, even material things are used properly. It's just that I think our psychology has been brainwashed with all of currently what we're seeing with like the way, like the internet, the algorithm, everything.
Well, we have to go back to right where we started.
Mm-hmm.
When you turn away from God, when you turn away from your creator, when you turn away from your spiritual being, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. It's real. When you turn away from it and you get caught up in this world, you get caught up in the tools. Your ego is a tool. Mm-hmm. It's a tool that you need to work to be in this world, but it shouldn't dominate you.
Yeah.
Drinking is a tool to celebrate, to relax, to have a different frame of mind, but it shouldn't dominate you. Mm-hmm. Drugs, etc. Obviously, any sort of psychosis. Mm-hmm. So what we have to concentrate on is finding out why we're here. Do we want to keep coming back, as many people believe, and how can we become better and ascend and bring other people with us?
Yes,
we're in this together, and if we're just like I said, if we got our heads down, we're watching our toes going down the sidewalk every day and not looking up and not thinking about higher things, we're missing the point.
Yes, I'm of the mindset though right now that we are actually at a point right now where I think a war needs to be fought first to set this up next. And what I mean by that,
Possibly.
I know what I said is very broad, but what I'm trying to explain is that right now it's like these evil motherfuckers out there, like they have to be, they have to be wiped out first, because like their presence, like or I don't know, or like
their time is coming.
Because it's like it's a lot like I bring up a nice childhood favorite of mine again from our favorite company, Disney, but it's like Hercules. Like I remember watching it as a kid, the Hercules Disney remake, and as a kid that one really sat with me a little bit, not just because it was a great Disney movie and I was a little kid and like it made me happy watching it with my brother and sister and eating pizza or whatever. It was like there was a scene where it shows Zeus, Hades, and all the gods like hanging out, and then when you see Hades hanging out with all these gods, like he's kind of like powerless. He's like the runt of the group, and and even Zeus is like rubbing Hades' head, like, oh, just run in the underworld for us, hey, like like why don't you lighten up, kind of, and like it's like I didn't create, he didn't use these exact words, but the gist of that interaction, that one scene was Zeus was like, I didn't create the underworld to be the way you have it set up, man. Like it's just there's a system, you die, the soul goes here, it, recycles and it kind of comes back. It's like, but you turn into this dreary, like dark, twisted little spot or whatever, and then Hades is sitting there because he's the bad guy in the movie trying to overthrow Zeus, but Hades is just sitting there like, well, you'll never understand my thought process. Like they didn't use the exact words, but the animation was portraying what I took away from it was that he's like, you'll never understand envy, jealousy, and ego, because you're Zeus, you're the top of the food chain. As in you're God, you're top of the food chain. Like
it's kind of mimicking the God story.
Yeah. So
God created us so he could experience things through us.
Yeah.
Right. And he did it for his son.
But then Hades, but the devil's like, Hades is actually not the devil in Greek mythology. It's different. Hades just rules the underworld. But but in that example, like I remember thinking in my head, like, yeah, like if there's this twisted super entity out there that just doesn't care about shared happiness, or it cares about its own happiness, and
it's non-creative too.
It
can only mimic.
Yes, exactly. So that entity, it seems like it's winning now in my actual real lifetime observance of things. Like when I'm in my real lifetime,
it appears that it's winning, but it's not.
Well, because everything that is taken, like I'll give you an example. Like it's like it's like that word perversion. It's like when you see a beautiful woman, like dressed super, super well, and she's like looks hot, and you're sitting there thinking like, man, like that's sexy. You can use that word like that's sexy in a uplifting, positive, like as it, because it's not like God doesn't want us to have sex. He's like, he just wants us not to do it in a perverse way where it's degrading the soul. But like when you're having sex, it's supposed to be bonding with another, like you're appreciating someone
But
else.
it shouldn't lead.
It shouldn't lead, no. But like,
she's a beautiful woman because she's a beautiful woman.
yeah,
not because you want to have sex with her.
no. But I'm saying
that should never lead.
But I'm saying when the bonding finally happens and you have sex, it's like there's a difference between like love making versus like what they do in like
absolutely.
what they do in like the hooker world or whatever. So it's like it's like that. Like again, it's a fine line. Like it's everything that it's not everything is bad that you have to extinguish it away. It's that it's being used incorrectly, and at the sides of
we
evil.
don't balance enough spirituality with the real the physical world.
Well, it's just like anything.
When we fall too much into the physical world, we lose that perspective.
Yes, and it's true. And some people say, oh, you gotta use willpower and discipline to keep things in moderation. It's like, no, if you have a stronger belief system, it will naturally go to moderation. You know, like if you live from a higher position, you're not even going to go there. Yeah, you're right? Not even going to go there. Or if you do, like as an example, say it's like never smoke a cigarette. It's like, I don't know about you, but after a great meal and like a great conversation, having like a one or two drinks, like a cigarette's one of the most beautiful things in the world.
Well, again,
it's like
as long as it doesn't dominate your life,
as long as it doesn't dominate. But the devil, the dark side, essentially has been just picking at the psychological weakness of most people and trapping them into taking these things that are supposed to be precious and good.
Yeah, because we're gullible. Human beings are beautiful, gullible beings.
Yeah. We are like forever kids.
Yeah, we're
gullible.
We believe authority, right? We're born and bred to listen to authority, to do what this says.
Well, especially if we believe
this is why we did this to ourselves, and it's unfortunate, but it's part of us growing up and maturing as a human race. We have to be questioning everything, and I'll say this till I die. You have to question everything, because most things that you learn in life are false. They're false. You know, when I was a little boy, you used to read stories all the time about a mother lifting a car up because it ran over her son. She had this incredible power to lift the car off her son. I mean, it didn't happen every week, but it happened every few months. You read these stories, and the medical science would say it's adrenaline. Yeah, okay. Yeah, a woman lifts a 4,000-pound car back then, or probably 6,000. It's adrenaline. No, it's not adrenaline. It's this incredible spiritual power that we all have. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it comes to light, and it happens in this physical world. Mm-hmm. When I was climbing and I fell, I was saved by something, right? It was real. I was falling to my death. I was unroped. I was solo at that point, and I was falling at least 1,000 meters. It could have been. And I was stopped, I was picked up, and I was put on a ledge. And that really happened, folks. Something fantastic is going on here. Yeah, every day in our lives, in our spirits, in our hearts.
Yeah, I mean, I told you about my car hit black ice, and I saw a semi come right at me, and like I should have been dead right there. And like, but for some reason, it was like my car magically safely fell into the side ditch, and I looked around like.
Well, I told you about Matthew, my friend Matt, and he's in a passenger side front seat, and his buddy whipped out onto the highway, turned left, and this car, he missed the car from behind the semi. Same thing, he's pulling in after the semi goes by 100 kilometers an hour, and there's a car right behind it, and he didn't see it. His driver didn't see it, and Matthew just had time to look and say, "Save me, Jesus." That's what he said. And this thing hit him at 100 kilometers an hour, right broadside on his door, and he lived. And all he had was glass in his face, which it took him 5 hours to get him out. And none of the police, firemen, paramedics could believe that he was alive. He actually walked away.
Yeah.
This stuff is real.
Yeah.
This is real. Yeah. And this is who the psychopaths that run the world don't want us to know about. They don't want us, they want us to believe this is a coincidence, some sort of bizarre good luck, some sort of bizarre phenomena. It's not. It's real.
I like that's, I mean, I'm not just saying, oh, I had a miracle and that's why I believe in God. I don't know. I've always naturally did. But right now it's when I look around right now, it's like, okay, like some kind of last ditch super effort is definitely being thrown by the dark side, because things were good. Things were pretty good overall. Like not
they
great,
get satiated.
but
they get satiated with the World War killing millions of people. They become satiated. So we have a positive era after a world war because the evil has been satiated. It's been fulfilled. Oh, great! No, we just killed 50 million frickin' people. The evil side is satiated, and then we have this positive aspect, like the 1950s, for example, 60s, and then we got to do it again, right? We got to start sacrificing again to these people.
Yeah, like the cycle keeps continuing, and right now, I mean, but I'm going to wind this down right now. But no, we obviously we'll have another part until we get it all out there, But I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's just if there's any message, it's try to be good, not try, be good, okay, and don't do the bad stuff that we all do. Now, this is easier said than done because this is a 24/7 battle. But right now, I did take something away from what you always say. But the truth is, we do have to question everything, because there's just way too many things now that are blatantly apparent that they are lies, and it's just so
the majority of what we live is a lie.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very terrible. And it's like right now, it's like, I mean, I question things. I still roll with the punches for most things, because I mean, like sometimes I do feel like just running out into the wilderness and being like, okay, like let's just release my entire relationship to this body and ego, and just merge back with the consciousness, which is
what
God.
You're doing here, Shawn, is very important. This podcast and your business, you treat people well, you look after people, you have regulars, you're good to them, and this podcast is very important. You understand you are contributing.
Yes.
I know it's not maybe your full dream, but you are helping. You're doing some good things here.
I am living my dream, actually. I am happy in the sense that I know that thing we mentioned about doing what you love. Like, I love doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I would do this if there's no viewers. I would do how often do I get to talk to, like, say I never met you, like, which I have, like, my last 3, 4, well, maybe not 3, like my multiple last guests, like they are strangers, and I get to sit and have a chat with a stranger, and
it's very important what you're doing,
and like dive into their life, and it's like I love connecting with people. Like, that's one of my passions, as well as just the things I do aside for hobbies, like martial arts, working out, like and but I know I'm like, this isn't going to be an overnight fix, and in fact there might be more problems to come because of just the amount of push that
there's always more problems.
Yeah.
But that's how we grow. I know it's cliche, but it's how we grow.
Yeah. No, and well, right now it's like, to circle back to the very beginning, like the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine right now, the clear, weird collapsing of the financial system, the way the social media is set up right now, that conversations like this will essentially garnish lower views than literally videos of just stupid things, like you
gold and Bitcoin are skyrocketing as we sit here. They're skyrocketing, and that is a reflection of the breakdown of the old monetary system, among other things. It is a direct reflection, because Bitcoin for some people is digital gold, and gold, of course, is gold. It's real money. It's been around for thousands of years. It's not going anywhere. Whether you believe Bitcoin is digital gold or not, that's whatever. But gold is just broken over $2,100. It's unbelievable what's going on. Something is breaking down.
Okay, so right now it's like if you had to tally this up, kind of almost like a sport, like a game, like a basketball game right now, like evil and good. Like, are you saying like there was a period where the score was like 40-5 for evil, but now it's kind of the score is what do you think? It's more like 70-60 for good? Like,
I don't think evil was ever that far ahead, because we wouldn't be here.
Right. Well, they almost did with World War II and like almost total global collapse with
Yeah, but almost is the key word.
With nuclear.
Almost.
Nuclear.
Yeah, nuclear
annihilation.
weapons are another issue. They may not be such a thing. But the whole atomic structure and the whole solar system was kind of mimicked after the atomic structure. It's you got to question everything. And I'll wrap this up by saying, I've said it before. You got to question. Quit watching the frickin' mainstream media, please, people.
Yeah.
Don't watch mainstream media. Don't listen to mainstream radio. It is a negative bullshit propaganda hypnosis.
Okay.
Period.
Hold on. I want to end with this topic, whether it takes 5 minutes or 10. Or okay, you said you don't actually know how it all. You know that you saying there's no such thing as space, but what is the level Earth then? Like what is your understanding? What is up here? Or are we in a dimension almost and just go somewhere else out?
Well, that's a quantum question, right? I mean, we could go on forever about that. Like, what's real, what's not, right? This is solid, but is it? When you look at it under a microscope, it's not solid. It's 99.9999% space, right? Uh-huh. When you look at this under an electron microscope, there's nothing there.
So what do you think this is?
Well, we're controlling the energy, whatever the energies are, to format this building, this life, this earth, this whatever it is, you, me. Our minds are so powerful that we can filter energy and give it form in our minds. But when we look at it in certain different perspectives, it doesn't exist. It's just energy, right? So then you get into all these questions of, is this illusion? Is this Truman Show? What is it? So we don't know, but I think we all agree that we came here to share and to live and to grow and to help each other. And I think that's the most important part. We don't have to get caught up in these details of quantum mechanics, unless you want a new cell phone. But it's a matter of what you want to focus on is what you will have in your life, and that is a fact.
That is
so
true.
If you want more, you want more love, you want more beauty in your life, you will eventually find it.
I just I don't know. I guess one side of my mind is a bit because I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. I love space opera, science fiction. I love it. That's one of my favorite. That is a passion. I love watching those shows. I don't know what it is like.
But when I picture, didn't quite answer your question.
Yeah, I'm like, if that isn't even real, then what? How does this all work? Like what?
I believe so far.
Okay,
and I'm only 60.
Okay,
there is a roof over us. Okay. I don't know how far it is. Maybe 70, 100 miles. The United States tried to break a hole in it in the 1950s and 60s with a project called Operation Fishbowl, which is an interesting name.
Okay.
But they actually tried to send weapons through this.
So you're saying there's like a force field ceiling?
There is accumulated gases, right, from the atmosphere. And then there's like a plasma, and then there's a hard shell. And I'm not saying it's
what is even an atmosphere then? Our understanding of an atmosphere is supposed to be these gases surround a circular.
Yeah, but you can't. You can't. In a vacuum of space, you cannot have gas. It would evacuate, right?
Yeah,
you're telling me that gravity is keeping gases on the Earth? That's such crap. It's a closed system. It has to be a closed system. If space really existed above the Earth, we wouldn't have any atmosphere. It would be evacuated. You take any sort of gas and you release it into a room or anywhere, it immediately evacuates. Right? Mm-hmm. Gravity doesn't hold it down there in your little container. It evacuates to the biggest form it can be. So atmosphere cannot exist on Earth unless there is a cover.
Man, see, I just
think about it.
Hey, I'm open-minded.
Think about it, but
because
this is basic knowledge.
Yeah,
gases don't sit and stick to anything; they evacuate to the largest possible space that you have. And when you're next to outer space, how can gas stick to the Earth? It's bullshit.
Yeah. See, I don't know how any of this works. I'm not
okay.
My conceptions.
I'm going to hold you to task here.
Uh-huh.
The SR-71. Have you thought about it?
What's that?
It's the Blackbird that does 2,500 miles an hour.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Now
Okay,
think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Would they create this jet plane that can't function on Earth? Because it couldn't function on a curved Earth. It could not. Because the SR-71 Blackbird is so fast that to follow the curvature of the Earth, it would break apart and kill the pilots at its full speed. Okay. Because the curvature of the Earth is too much for the plane to handle. The Blackbird cannot turn at high speeds because it will break apart, even though it's made of titanium and other carbon fiber. It would break apart. So at full speed, 2,500 kilometers an hour or 2,440, it would break apart. So to follow the curvature of the Earth, you just do the basic spherical math designed by Pythagoras. The curvature of the Earth is about 8 inches per mile squared. And when you do that, the Blackbird, I said before, it was 800 feet per second, but the Blackbird has to downturn 450 feet per second. Per second. That would break apart the airplane and kill the pilots. And an airliner at 1/5 the speed would have to turn 90 feet per second. That would put people up in the ceiling of the airliner. The curvature of the Earth is absolute bullshit. These are real planes, and they're called planes for a reason. Airplane. They're flying over a plane. No pilot on Earth has ever had to adjust for the curvature. Never.
Okay, so again, not trying to be disrespectful. Heard you, open-minded to this, because again, I'm not, like, I don't know this shit. Like,
tell me how it doesn't work.
I can't begin to even offer an intelligent response to this, because this is not just out of my realm. But all that I am open-minded to is that I don't know. Like, the more I know, and the more I know nothing. So I'm like, maybe because I'm looking around sometimes, I just know things don't make sense right now, like societal wise. So, and I've noticed the lack of good education from my own schooling to even get me to this point in my life where like, and then I use my common sense of half of that schooling didn't amount to actually helping me have a better life. It was just almost like me plugging into some other job I clocked into for 12 years and then 4 more after, and I paid someone, or my family paid someone, or the money I part-time made off a part-time job paid someone, and I'm left with like not truly being better off than I was. The only thing I've accumulated was some discipline and time management, but all my actual intelligence came from only knowing things that I've researched on my own with the resources that those institutions gave me, and then I put it into real-time effect and understood what I learned there. So
your point is what?
My point is, yeah, like I could be, I am open-minded to that. I could be totally lied to.
There isn't one engineer in the world that's had to compensate for the Earth's curvature in a long freeway, in a long bridge.
Yeah.
There isn't one single engineer who will come to you and say, yeah, we had to compensate for the curvature of the Earth when we built this 10-mile bridge. Not one.
Okay.
So they had to go against what they learned in school to some degree.
So all I'm trying to say is this: like, I have no concept of that entire physics. That's why.
Yeah, but listen to what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, no, but I get what
I'm saying. These are real people. These are real designers. These are real engineers. Yeah. These are real pilots. They're coming out more and more and more before they get fired. They got fired for saying that they weren't adjusting.
So I guess, but the plane of the Earth, you're saying you think it just keeps going?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been allowed to explore. We haven't been allowed to explore Antarctica. There's something going on there that they don't want us to know. Same with the North Pole. Same thing. There's something going on there they don't want us to know. There are things that are orchestratedly hidden from us. And there's a reason. Because it's going to expand our understanding of who we are and where we are.
And then we wouldn't participate in the evil group's game anymore.
Exactly. John D. Rockefeller, the original John Rockefeller, he's a brilliant man, billionaire, probably worth more than any billionaire today. He said, I don't want critical thinkers. I want slave workers. Mm-hmm. And he redesigned all the textbooks. His companies changed all the textbooks.
So he was definitely a worshiper of this evil movement then.
Yeah. These guys are Satanists.
Yeah.
A lot of them will admit it. Madonna admitted it. I mean, she's Katy Perry the singer. She started out with gospel singing and said she only sold like 100 records, so she went and turned to the devil, and she did. She admits it.
Okay, Britt. Great conversation. Hope to have more with you and keep diving into these things.
We're just getting started.
Yeah. Well, there's just too much to unpack, and also
we'll bring people slowly along.
Yeah. Well, or people are gonna.
I'm afraid I have more bad news.
Yeah. Or this might be the part where people are like, okay, Shawn's an idiot.
No,
I don't know.
No, Shawn, you're doing a good job.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and hey, put some comments, like and subscribe as well. That helps grow the channel, and definitely, put some comments in the YouTube, and just let me know what you think.
Do your own homework.
Yeah, question everything. Okay, bye.
Thank you.